găsit, doamnelor și domnilor, la interviurile jurnalului cultural. Sunt Ioana Pavel și am un invitat special, cel mai rapid violonist din lume, cel puțin așa zice Cartea Recordurilor, David Garrett. And thank you for accepting our interview.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Now, let's talk now about your first violin, first meeting with music.
Well, I started when I was 4, so my first meeting was at a very early age. My older brother started first to play, and I was always fascinated with the sound, the instrument, and so I started playing also, and things developed very quickly. I remember playing my first concerts as a soloist when I was 8 years old with an orchestra behind me, so everything was very quickly.
Remember your first violin, your first instrument?
Not the first, but I remember some of the first instruments. I remember having a quarter-size Jean Bar, it's like a French violin maker, and then having a 7/8 Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume, and then the first violin real size was also Vuillaume, a Messiah copy. Then I changed to a Presenda from Turin. Then afterwards I got the San Lorenzo Stradivari. So that was when I was 12, 13 years old. So.
Anyway, somebody discovered your gift. You have a gift. You have to have a talent to play.
Is it really discovered or is it worked for, the gift? I'm not entirely sure. I think it's a little bit of both. You have to have some physical talent for the instrument. You have to have a good ear. But besides that, it's a lot of work.
I know.
So.
I know, I'm a conservatory graduated as well,
then,
violin. So I know what you're talking about. Were you a rebellious teenager? How was it? Were you playing a lot, or somebody was telling you, you must learn how to play?
No, I was very ambitious, to be quite honest. I always wanted to be good at playing the violin. There was, of course, also pressure. You know, I had already a record company. I was playing a lot of concerts each season. So for me, it was already a job at a very young age, and I knew I had to deliver, not to disappoint myself first and foremost, but also the people who were spending a lot of time and energy and money in me. So I did practice a lot.
In this long way of your career, maybe you lost some friends because of the concerts or because you didn't have time for them?
The friends I lost because of concerts, you can lose. Because if somebody doesn't accept that you have a passion for something in life, then they're not your true friends.
What was the biggest day of your life and the worst one?
I think the biggest day is always the day you're actually living right now in. So tonight is my biggest day because I'm here, I can play, it's a wonderful venue, the weather looks great. I don't look back and say this was something special. I rarely do it. Of course, playing with great conductors, you know, with Abado when I was 12, with Menuhin when I was 15, playing with a bunch of great artists, from Zubin Mehta to Riccardo Chailly, Giuseppe Sinopoli. So working with those people, of course, helped develop my musicality at a very early age.
you've been chosen to play in a movie as Paganini.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was interesting. I think the most important thing for me was to create a soundtrack. I mean, I started this project because I was able to do the movie soundtrack. There was always something I wanted to do in my life, create an atmosphere through music for a scene, even if it's not playing the violin, but an orchestral atmosphere. And that took a lot of time, the acting and then, you know, changing a little bit the script. That of course took a lot of time too, but that was more fun, or more in the fun side.
What was the strangest place where you had to play?
Where I had to play. I remember playing once in Seattle. I got a phone call, or my management calls me and said, do you want to play in Seattle for one of the founders of WhatsApp, the messenger app? And we were in Europe, and they're like, okay, we're going to fly you in, and you're just going to play for 13, 14 people in a very nice suite with views of Seattle. And I played 20 minutes for the wife's birthday. That was interesting.
It was interesting, if you might say like this.
There was another event like this in Abu Dhabi, where, you know, there was like some wedding or something like this. There were like 40 people at the most, and they invited like Flo Rida, the rapper, Robbie Williams was performing for like 35 minutes, 40 minutes. I was playing for like 20 minutes, and like 40 people just there. It must have cost a fortune. Crazy.
Now changing the subject, favorite composer, because there are a lot of period of time, a lot of composers in the universal history of music.
Yeah. Favorite? Very difficult. I think music is very diverse. Luckily, it's very diverse, and every day you want to maybe hear something else. If it's only Johann Sebastian Bach, it might get boring, although I love Bach. If it's only Beethoven, it also kind of gets, you know, at some point sterile.
And Mozart with his...
Yeah. It is the combination. It's like just looking at Van Gogh or just looking at a Rembrandt. You know, at some point you want to have a different kind of take on art. You know, that's what makes art special. It's very particular on who you are. And if it's only you deciding how it is, it's not any more art. So you need all the different perspectives from different artists, how to approach music. And that's what makes music alive.
But you must have a favorite violinist.
Also there, I would kind of like argue that I do have, of course, I like the violinists who you can identify immediately with the sound. And Arthur Grimio, and Michael Ehlmann, Itzhak Perlman, and Isaac Stern, Yehudi Menuhin, Jascha Heifetz. You hear exactly the voice immediately.
But Itzhak Perlman was your teacher, your professor.
Itzhak Perlman was my teacher at Juilliard, yeah.
How was it to have such a great, big violinist next to you?
Well, it was very nice, and he's such a great colleague. You know, he's always been very supportive. Even he never saw students as students, or he doesn't see it. He sees like colleagues, and you know, helps out where he thinks there's still room of improvement. It was very nice working with him for almost 4 years at Juilliard, but I had already met him before many times. I played for him first when I was, I think, 10 or 11 years old. So he already knew I could play the fiddle well. He kind of was, I think, also happy that, you know, he got the chance, of course, to work with really good people, you know. All the people, the students he had, Gjora Schmidt, Arno Sussman, Ilya Gringolds, the people who were there when I was there, they were all phenomenal violinists already. And he just like, you know, took a rough diamond and he made a brilliant out of it.
But you are very lucky, and I'm thinking right now about the way that you approached George Enescu's pieces, opera, because you met Ida Handel. She was your teacher.
Yes, she was my. She would hate the word teacher because she said she does not teach. She's not anymore here, so I'm gonna say this in her will. She was a great musician, and she was a friend, and she was a mentor, and she helped me develop my identity as a musician. So therefore, I'm forever thankful.
Success or love for music? What is important?
They go hand in hand. I think first you have to have love for music, but if you're struggling and you never have success, success is something which emphasizes the love for it and gives you always, the wind from the back. So they belong a little bit together. I can understand somebody who is very good, which normally never happens, is very good and not successful. First of all, this never happens. If you're good, you become successful. But just as a theory, you're very good and you're unsuccessful, that must be also very hard. So they go hand in hand.
I've noticed that maybe it's already a habit, but you come often in Romania. Maybe it's your sixth time here?
Yeah, but I can't go everywhere a lot.
But you love our country. This is what I was about to ask you.
No, it's fun to be here. First of all, it's always, people love music. People have also a great connection to classical music, also to the instrument, the violin. There's a lot of great Romanian violinists and musicians, and there is a deep love towards the violin itself. So I know that coming here, I always play for an audience which enjoys listening to me and having a good time, me and the audience.
Played as well on Stradivarius violin, on Guarneri violin. How is this difference? How you feel it? How you touch it?
Well, the touching is not the big difference, but the sounds, the colors. In the end, a lot of violinists actually chose Guarneri del Gesù over Stradivari. Even Enescu, played Guarneri del Gesù. Menuhin played del Gesù. Henrik Schering, Jascha Heifetz, Paganini, Vieuxtemps, Isaïe. So, Chrysler. So in the end, those are the instruments maybe which you can focus slightly more on making music because they're a little bit easier to play. With Stradivari, you always have to play for the violin. With Guarneri, you play for the music.
Talking about Stradivari,
Yeah.
you received as a gift a violin from a president of Germany.
It would be nice if it would have been a gift. I would have
wasn't
been
a gift.
a rich man at an early age in my life. No, no, no. It was
How was
it was
it?
a loan. It was, of course, still a great gift to be loaned a Stradivari at that early age. It was a big, was an important thing, and I enjoyed playing the violin very much.
You met other presidents of other states or countries?
A few, yeah.
Where, who?
Of Obama I played for, of course I played for many German presidents. I played once for the Pope at the Vatican, the Queen of England, a few people.
This time iconic. Why iconic? Why you choose this title?
Because those are the people, those are the pieces from the violinist I used to listen a lot as a child to, you know, in Ehrmann or Francescatti, Schering, Heifetz. You know, the program is based on a repertoire which used to be played a lot, especially in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And then violinists chose maybe a little bit more into going to chamber music, violin concertos, which is also great. I've done it many, many times. But iconic is my homage, my bow to all the great inspirations I got from the violinists and from those recordings.
Thank you very much.
You're mostly welcome.
Doamnelor și domnilor, a fost David Garrett. Eu vă dau întâlnire la următoarele interviuri ale Jurnalului Cultural.